I recently got back from my very first trip to Japan, and although I didn't record any content while I was there, I did do some shopping. So let me walk you through the 13 pieces I got while I was there. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Peter's Prism. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, I made a conscious decision to not film content while I was a first-time tourist in Japan. I wanted to be very mindful about not only being able to truly experience as much as I could, but I also didn't want to be that tourist whipping out their DJI everywhere they went. The limited shopping I did there was incredible, and though I wanted to do so much more, there was only so much time, budget, and more importantly, space in the empty suitcase I had brought along with me. Now, though I'm no denim head, there was no way I could visit Japan without getting some Selvedge denim, so I visited the shop Hinoya, which is in a working class neighborhood of Tokyo called Ueno. It's right under some train tracks in a market area, and I visited on a rainy day, so it was super sensory. Hinoya's history dates back to 1928, and the shop's focus is on Japanese takes on Americana. They stock a lot of brands including Big John, Momotaro, Oni Denim, among many others. I settled on these Studio d'Artisan cinch-back jeans made of 15-ounce right twill selvage denim. I really appreciated the deep indigo color, and I liked the wider, higher rise, looser fit on these. I also picked up a very similar pair from Burgus Plus, the 1928 cinchback model in natural indigo. It might be hard to tell, but these have a slightly lower rise and are a bit more regular fit than the Studio d'Artisan pair, but again, I fell in love with the color and the cinchback detail. And as you may know, I love a good Canadian tuxedo. So when I saw this Burgus Plus second type denim jacket, which is modeled on a 1950s design, I knew I had to get it. I think the overall look is quite understated, but also has a lot of history and craft behind it. I stumbled upon a tiny shop called Cassidy that was tucked in a Shibuya side street, and that is where I found this Engineered Garments 8-whale corduroy jacket called the Loiter jacket. It's a super relaxed fit that feels like an overshirt, but wears like an unstructured blazer. It's unlined, and I love the tab details on the lapel, as well as the ability to cinch the waist for a different look. I really liked finding shops like Cassidy, super well curated, sometimes very specific, and you could tell immediately upon entering how dedicated its store owners and salespeople were to the style or approach they were sharing. In this case, an Ivy meets workwear kind of energy. I've been a longtime fan of the brand Kolor, which is currently designed by Taro Horiuchi and has a connection to the brand Sakai, which I am also a huge fan of. Though you can source Sakai in some stores in New York City, I've never seen anything from Kolor here, so I was super excited to visit their outpost in the posh Ginza district. This coat is unusually oversized, and it's not something I would seek out normally, but I thought it was very unique and interesting that I decided to get it. You can tell immediately that the way it was cut is unusual, and in fact has a nod to kimonos in that it has a very wide body and sleeves, and this rope closure is clearly inspired by climbing gear. There's this interesting mix of the technical and traditional that I really appreciated. I did visit many secondhand shops, but I decided to focus on new items after a while because the secondhand scene in Japan is really next level. For starters, the sheer volume is mind-blowing, but what really blew me away was the level of organization I saw at every secondhand shop, either by color, style, or designer, and each shop had a pretty unique perspective in terms of curation. But the challenges of sizing, which as you know can be very tricky with used or vintage garments, started to take too much of my time, and because shopping time was pretty limited, I decided I didn't want to spend more than a few minutes at any one secondhand store. But trust me when I say that if you're someone who loves spending time secondhand shopping, it's really hard to beat the experience in Japan in terms of quantity and quality. I picked up these Engineered Garments French Army-inspired fatigue pants in ripstop cotton at a shop called Sun House in Harajuku. Lots and lots of pockets, as you can see, and I will never say no to an extra pocket or two. These are sometimes hard to find in the US in extra small, which is my size for engineered garments, so I decided to get them on the spot. The in-store discount and lack of tax on top of a price that was slightly better than what you'd pay in the US convinced me also to get these right away. And at Beams, which you've ever visited, can feel like a gigantic ecosystem of brands beyond their namesake label, I scored these Royal Navy cargo pants by Sage de Cray. They're somewhat of a reinterpretation of classic cargo fatigues, but in a modern fabric and in a relaxed cut. A little bit of a shopping side note. Almost everywhere I saw Gachapon, I had to stop to check it out. I got a bunch, not too many, but I did want to share a few I thought were noteworthy. First up is this on switch, which doesn't turn anything on except the light on the switch itself. But I love how it's simultaneously totally useless while also being very satisfying in an analog manner.
I also love this mini replica of an 80s tape recorder, which actually works.
And lastly, these miniature Wesco Jobmaster boots, which I actually got for Nick from Stridewise. Such a specific thing to put in a gachapon machine, but also so Japanese. I went on a day trip to Kamakura, where I scored 3 shirts from the Kamakura Shirts flagship store. These are part of their vintage Ivy line. I got one in this beautiful blue needle cord, a batik print that I'm wearing right here, and one in a foulard pattern. These would have been at least double the price had I ordered them from the States, but I also had the ability to try on different cuts of shirts here, which was super helpful. Kamakura itself is about an hour from Tokyo, and the town itself is peaceful, very green, and a lot more chill than Tokyo. At different Beams locations, I scored this slightly oversized denim shirt that had this very cool toile de joue print and a double pocket, as well as this reflective hooded shirt in this bright green plaid. It was so interesting to me how each Beams location had a slightly different mix of brands and styles, some leaning a lot more experimental than others. Back in Ginza, I picked up a couple of pieces from Porter, a Tokyo-based accessories brand, from the department store Takashimaya. Department stores in Japan, by the way, feel almost nothing like what I'm used to here. They felt 1,000 times better curated, and the service was top-notch. And their food halls were something else. This Explorer day pack is made with ballistic nylon and features 3 layers of compartments and zippered areas. The thing I love most about this backpack are its proportions and small details like these nylon straps that help you close the snaps on these side pockets. And this capsule wallet has also a similar sense of utility and refinement. So that's basically everything I bought in Japan. I obviously would have bought a lot more, but I wanted to not only stay within my budget I set out for myself, I also had to consider what I could fit into the spare suitcase I brought along with me. The little time I was there made it very clear to me that I need to make a trip back soon, and maybe one that's dedicated solely to secondhand shopping, or maybe using more time to do a little bit of a deeper dive into Tokyo only. So, are you planning a trip to Japan anytime soon? What's on your shopping wish list? I'd love to hear when you're going and what stores you're hoping to hit. Share your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you got any joy out of watching this video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more videos around all things style and design. Until next time, stay true to your own style, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!